There is a deeply rooted history of sweetgrass baskets that has been woven into the creation of Charleston, South Carolina today. Nancy White is a basket weaver from Boone Hall Plantation who says that the sweetgrass baskets came from West Africa.
When the slave came here from West Africa, they met the same type of grass here. So they was able to do what they needed to do to make ends meet. Other people bought from other plantation, came to this plantation and bought these baskets. The Gullah tribe, because these are the West African Gullah basket. And they were made for household use, and the big rice spanner basket was made to clean the rice. They do it on picking the cotton, and some even feed the cattle because they can't hold water if it's tight enough. But the slave brought it with them, the idea, not the grass itself. They brought the idea with them.
Over the years, the role and the purpose of the baskets have changed.
Now it's an art. We call it a dying art because a lot of young people don't want to do it anymore. Back then, it was a necessity. They had to make the basket back then because there wasn't much thing that the master gave them to use. So they had to make these baskets to use around the plantation.
Keisha Kennard has been making baskets since she was a young girl, with the art being passed down in her family.
My grandma, she knows, her mother and possibly her grandmother made the baskets. Obviously, as a little girl, my grandmother was making them. Her sister, my Aunt Catherine, my mom, who my Aunt Catherine taught. So those three women in my family, I witnessed them making the baskets as a little girl. They sat my brother, my sister, and me down. We didn't have a choice back then. This is just something that was done. So, for me, I remember very distinctly my grandmother, because we'd also go, she'd pile us up in her station wagon and take us downtown Charleston, where she sold her baskets in front of the courthouse there for years. So for me, it's over 40 years of doing that.
Keisha says that the sweetgrass baskets have been a huge part of the cultivation and making of Charleston.
If there was no basket, then there probably wouldn't have been rice cultivation, right? So it's the part of Charleston history that you just can't overlook. I mean, you just can't. And it's too hard to do that. Number one, because it's quite visible downtown with the ladies making the baskets, but just in terms of history, the makeup of Charleston is sweetgrass basketry in part.
For these people who have the sweetgrass basket history in their blood, it truly does define their culture and who they are today. Keisha explains how having the sweetgrass baskets as a part of her upbringing and family history has shaped her into the woman she is now.
The baskets for me helped define me. If anything, teaching me as a young girl, I'm not sure if it further inspired what was already just a crafty nature that I had, but it certainly cultivated it even more. So it's something that I can't separate from myself. It's just like you can't separate the baskets from the history of Charleston, South Carolina. Keisha is partly defined by the sweetgrass basket heritage that she has. So it's just a part of me. You can't take that away.
I don't know.